Hi guys, so Bub and I are sitting outside of Taco Bell. We have a WIC appointment at 1 and it just didn't make sense to go home and get comfortable to have to leave again. So I just fed him in the car, so now we have time. So I figured while I'm sitting here and have nothing to do, and I don't want to stop at the store because I'll just spend money and buy things I don't need, and I kind of don't feel good, so I'm just gonna sit here and kind of just do a life update for you guys that I've been telling you I was going to do, kind of like explaining why I've been absent, or why I was absent at the beginning of the year. So I don't know if I know I've talked about on Snapchat, but I don't know if I talked about in my videos that I have Crohn's disease, and like from January on, even the end of December, I just like felt terrible. I was having pains. No doctor knew what it was. They were giving me like extra strength heartburn medication. What are you doing? Why are you climbing all the way to the back? You getting in the trunk? Whatever. So it would start up here right below my sternum. You can't see because of the steering wheel. Start up here, and then it would just shoot pain down like the nerves in my stomach. And then I woke up on New Year's Day with what I thought, or what it was, I don't know, with the UTI. And I had it for like over a month. And it was just like a ball of like, I don't know why this isn't going away. I don't know what's going on. You know, I kept going to different doctors. I even went to a urologist, and they were like, oh yeah, your bladder is inflamed. Well, then like a week after I saw the urologist, well, let me back that up by saying I've been on antibiotics basically since the beginning of January. Pretty much like since the first week of January, I've been on Cipro, which is a real strong antibiotic. I've been on from different doctors pretty much every day since January. So one night, it was like, I think it was whenever daylight savings time was, so like first, second week of March, I was in so much pain, like every 5 minutes, like having this like pain, like this, like huddle over in tears pain. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the ER. And I'm not one to go to doctors. I'm not one to go to the I hate going to the emergency room. I hate getting stuck there. But I was like, I can't take this pain anymore. So I go to the ER at like 11 o'clock at night after, you know, I gave Bub his nighttime milk. Addie was in bed. And I go to the ER, and they do like a CT scan. They do, you know, a urine test, and they're like, oh yeah, you have an infection. Well, no shit. Excuse my language, but duh. I've had an infection for 2 months now, but thank you. Almost 3 months. So they admitted me, and they found that my intestines pretty much fused to my bladder lining and put a open wound, or like a hole between my bladder and my intestines, and it's gross and it's TMI, and if you don't want to hear about it, then just like don't watch this video. And so bacteria is coming through my intestines and out my bladder, and so I have an infection, and it's painful and it's miserable. So they put me on IV antibiotics right away, and it started like making me feel better almost instantly. I mean, not making it go away, but like I was feeling better. And they had me on morphine, so that was good too. Like I wasn't in pain. And so the next day they had me do a CT with contrast, which is where they like make you drink this really nasty drink. And they also like injected me with a dye into my veins to like, you know, make my insides glow. And I did that once, and then they did it again the next day. And like, long story short from that is all the dye they put inside of me and the IV antibiotics caused my kidneys to go into like failure, basically. I had like really low creatine or whatever is in your kidneys. So they had to immediately stop the IV antibiotics, and they gave me, it's like this stint in the hospital that should have been only like 4 days I was there for 10 days, and it was a mess. So that caused that problem, and then I went into sepsis and got an infection in the hospital, so I couldn't go home. Like every time I thought I was going home, I'd like call, and be like, okay, so I think I'll be getting out this time, blah blah blah. Nope, something else would happen. So I got there on a Saturday night. Sunday, Monday, they were giving me the CTs. Then they would take my blood every morning, and they found that like my kidneys were bad. And then they started talking about surgery for this issue. It's called a fistula. And so I don't like being in the hospital. I don't like being away from the kids. And so I get anxiety being in the hospital because he's hard to take care of, and it just gives me anxiety. Like, this was unplanned. We didn't have like, what happens if I'm in the hospital? Who takes care of him like on this day and this? And Addie had school, and it was just like a lot. And so I had been asking them for days, like, can I have something for my anxiety? Just something to calm me down. Well, they just kept putting me in different rooms, like in different floors. They kept moving me to different floors. I was on like 6 different floors throughout the 10 days. So what had happened was, at one point, they moved me because I think they were sick of me. And I'm trying to tell this doctor, like, okay, this is my problem, like, this is my medical history, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I just don't feel like I'm being heard, because like I don't feel like medical professionals have enough training when it comes to special needs and like autism and stuff. And like, I tried expressing like, listen, I have anxiety, my child has autism, I'm never away from him this long. He's not used to being like cared for in long periods of time by anybody else. Like, they have no empathy. And some of the nurses they just don't get it. Like, they didn't get my anxiety. Well, finally they gave me, what did they give me? See, I can't even remember what they gave me. I think it begins with an A. If I remember, I'll put it right here. But I don't remember this was later in the week that they gave it to me. So like, I cried just every day. Like, I wanted to go home. I wanted them to let me go home. They wouldn't let me go home, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, they couldn't let me go home, but I wanted to leave. And it was like, okay, you'll probably be released today. No, you won't. So, careful. I don't remember an entire day. I went legitimately psycho. I was hallucinating on these anxiety meds. My friend told me that like, it can go either way. Some people are fine on them, and some people are psycho. Like, 'cause she takes it and she doesn't get like that, but it had a bad effect on me. And it was an IV anxiety drug, and they kept me on the morphine too. So it was that and the morphine, and I legit lost my mind. I cannot remember. I was seeing things. It was just a bad time. And so, like, on my chart now, it says do not give her this, and then that IV antibiotic that caused my kidneys to fail, can't take that either. So that all happened. They had me on different diets. It was just lonely and miserable, and like, and then just trying to like, keep track of the kids' stuff. Like, okay, you have to take him here at this time, pick him up at this time. This is where his blah, blah, blah is. Make sure you take that and make sure you give it to this person. And then he had a fundraiser that he had to drop off. So like, everybody else had to get that organized and turn that in. And it was just like, okay, what days is his dad's gonna be home with him? Because his dad's still out to work, my mom's still out to work, everybody's still out to work, and they were like trading off on what days. His dad gets 2 days off. I don't even know. Maybe he took a third. I honestly don't remember a lot of what happened in the hospital because I was so out of it between the anxiety meds and then the morphine. But it was just a mess. They put a PICC line in my arm, which is basically a line, like an IV, that goes from your arm through your chest and like to here or whatever. It was very weird. They put it in because they were going to send me home originally, like a few days after I got there, with IV antibiotics, and I was just going to like do that for like 2 weeks and then see if I got better. But because the IV antibiotics shot my kidneys, they had to take the PICC line out, so I got that put in for no reason. Which, I mean, helped with IV, like, infusion things. They ended up giving me a blood transfusion because of my kidneys, which was fine because I have low iron, and I actually was scheduled to go get a iron infusion like that week later had I not gone in the hospital, so that kind of was a plus. They ended up having to give me a blood transfusion also, and after that I had such a bad headache. I felt so sick. They had to put me on my blood pressure was extremely high, and so they had to move me to the cardiac care unit, which is the last unit I stayed on before I was released. So they had me hooked up to monitors all the time, and I had this terrible high blood pressure. And then finally 10 days later I get out of the hospital, and I have to check in with like 17 different doctors, and I have to get blood work every week. And finally I saw the surgeon who was following my case in the hospital. I saw him in April, and I am getting surgery June 7th. So this will probably be up. I might record while I'm in the hospital depending on like how I feel, just kind of like little like updates. But I'm getting, hopefully it's laparoscopic. It starts off laparoscopic, and then they see how bad the open wound is, and if they can just fix it, or if it'll like fix itself basically, or if they really need to like go in there and like do a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm hoping they don't, because I might have to get like an ostomy bag, which is not something I want to deal with. It just means longer hospital stay and just a bigger pain, and then it would be temporary until I heal, and then it would get removed. And it's just, I don't want to spend my summer with an ostomy bag. And I obviously don't want one when we go to Disney. So obviously, like, hopefully if I do get it, I can heal fast so that I can, you know, not have one there. But it's just like stress, just a lot of stress. The bill came in the mail I have insurance, but like the bill from the hospital came in the mail last week. It was like $75,000. The pharmacy itself was like $10,000. And it should have only been a few days, and it just like a series of unfortunate events kept happening. I got the sepsis, my kidneys shot, and so I had to see a kidney doctor. I had to take all these meds. I'm still taking meds, and it seems like they might not be working. Like, I feel like my body is kind of like immune to them now, because I'm back to having the same pains I was, and it's like I have to just tough it out. Staring at traffic, and there is more than like a car's length in between like each of these cars, and I'm not entirely sure why there's so much space in between these cars. Anyway, I have to tough it out. I mean, I don't have to. I purposely didn't schedule my surgery till June 7th because they had an opening this Friday, May 17th. Bub has a field trip, and Addie's school play is both that day, and I'm not missing either. And then they had one like the last Friday of the month, but it's Bub's end of the year party, and then the day before is Addie's like outdoor fun day, and I have to take meds and things and like do like this regimen before my surgery the day before, so I won't be available the day before, and I volunteered. And it's just, there's so many end of the year things happening that I volunteered for, that I want to participate in, that I want to be there for, that I just can't miss. So I'm getting it done on June 7th. Addie's last day of school is June 6th. Her birthday's the 10th, but we're just gonna like celebrate prior. It's the best it's gonna get. Part of me is like not excited. I'm not excited for surgery at all, because I'm not gonna be able to lift him for like over a month. Not that I need to, but I'm with him all day. And then who knows how long it's gonna take me to be able to drive, which is like key to my entire life. So hopefully I recover quick. I was walking around the day after my gallbladder, which was laparoscopic. I was walking around the night after I had him, which was C-section. So I'm hoping I recover decently fast. I'm hoping I can be up and moving, and I have like, you know, all the requirements met in the hospital for them to be able to send me home in a timely fashion. At least this time, though, we are prepared. Like, we have it set a schedule, like who's going to be with the kids on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then from there, after that, well, even Wednesday, actually. We're good until, like, Thursday. his dad is off Friday, his dad is off Monday, and then his dad will be off Wednesday, and then my mom is off on weekends, so she'll be off Saturday, Sunday, and then she might just have to take Friday and Tuesday off to take me to the surgery, and then if I'm not home. So we have a plan this time, and it just was hard on him too. He was really out of whack kind of with me not being there. He was good. He was better than I thought he'd be. See, I'm in pain now. He was better than I thought he would be. Because, you know, change is hard and adjustments are hard. But yeah, I'm hoping this isn't as long. I'm hoping this is quick. I'm hoping everything goes well. But yeah, so I mean, if anybody has any questions, they can like comment or like go on my Instagram and message me or whatever. But that's basically the gist of what was going on. It was a hot mess express time. They probably hate me and never want to see me again because I was an asshole. I'm always an asshole in the hospital. I just hate the way they treat you sometimes. But, and they just don't get it. They just don't understand. It was just like nobody was listening to me. And I never saw the same doctor for more than 30 seconds. So it's like I'm meeting all these people and then I have to remember who they are. And it's just, doctors need the empathy of nurses. Because nurses like actually, you know, more nurses have empathy. I'm not saying doctors don't. I'm sure there are plenty of doctors that understand. But like, I kind of told one of the doctors, I was like, I can't stay here all these days. I was like, you know, only one person works. Like, you know, his dad works. I was like, my boyfriend works. I don't. I stay home with my son. I was like, are you going to pay our bills when he has to take a million days off because, like, we're not figuring out what's going on? Because that's the thing is I sat there. They could have done the surgery, to be honest. The amount of time I was in the hospital, they should have just done the surgery that weekend. And I was there for 10 days anyway. Like, that's the thing is I was there for no reason. They had me sitting on meds and just, like, dilly-dallying and with their thumb up their ass. And then, like, trying to figure out what to do. And it's like, you should have just repaired the thing. Like, because, yeah, okay, antibiotics sometimes clear it up, but I was there for 10 days. We could have done more. And so that's kind of frustrating that I was there for 10 days and nothing was solved, really. And so I think they hate me there, which is fine. They hated me when I had Bub too, because I yelled at them for not letting me have my child. Anyway, I need to go to my appointment that I'll probably be late for now because there's probably traffic everywhere. So I will see you next time I make a video. I don't know when that's going to be. Maybe while I'm in the hospital, if I feel up to it, I can update. If not, soon. All right. See ya.